I'm on the treadmill and I happened to come across this clip from Brit Baier asking Elon Musk what keeps him up at night. And after 9 long seconds of silence, I think it was 9, I sat there and counted, he said the birth rate's dropping. That's what keeps him up at night. As I'm watching that, this was literally the face that I made as I'm on the treadmill. I'm glad that I was holding on. I would have tumbled off of that treadmill. Trigger warning. I'm about to talk about miscarriage and how a woman was handled after she had a miscarriage. So I'm just putting that out there. So around the same time that I was watching that clip of what keeps Elon Musk up at night, someone had sent me a message talking about this woman being arrested. And this is what Jezebel says. The 24-year-old was found unconscious and bleeding near her apartment building. She was arrested and charged with concealing the death of another person and abandonment of a dead body. So that is what Jezebel says. So I go to Google and I'm trying to figure out which major publications have picked this up, and nobody is really picking this up. Jessica Valenti, the content creator that talks about terminations every single day, she picked it up. It says MSN, but that's really the Midas Touch Network. MSN just put out the Midas Touch Network's blog. Jezebel put out a post, and that's about it. No NBC, no ABC, no CBS has put out about this woman getting arrested for having a miscarriage. So here's the post from Jessica Valenti. She writes about this literally every single day. She says they're arresting us for miscarriages now. This week, a Georgia woman was arrested for her miscarriage. I'll let you sit with that for a moment. I'm about to read this, but please know and understand that this is kind of sad, kind of triggering. So just keep that in mind. If you need to scroll away, please do so. All right, so she says, the 24-year-old found bleeding and unconscious outside her apartment complex was charged with concealing a death and abandoning a dead body after placing fetal remains in the trash. Georgia has no law dictating how to dispose of miscarriage remains, but police arrested her anyway. Her mugshot is already splashed across the local crime pages. Did you know that 1 million American women miscarry every year? I hope the cops are ready to run out a film. While this young woman sat behind bars, Georgia lawmakers considered a bill that would lock up even more women. The Prenatal Equal Protection Act, HB 441, would charge termination patients as murderers, a crime punishable by life in prison or by the death penalty. You wouldn't know it from looking at the headlines. From the Associated Press to the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, HB 441 is being covered as a total abortion ban rather than a radical step towards punishing women. Fertility doctors could also be jailed for life. Under HB 441, discarding frozen embryos would be a criminal offense. Fertility specialist Dr. Carrie-Ann Frew asked lawmakers at a Thursday hearing, am I guilty of murder? That makes me a serial unaliver. This isn't an issue of a single extremist state. The legislation in Georgia is one of 11 equal protection bills that have been introduced across the country since the start of the year. All of them seek to punish women who terminate. The rest of us, of course, remain suspect. An Idaho legislator explained to a reporter last month that his equal protection bill would allow for the investigation of miscarriages. We're barely 3 years out from the end of Roe. Still think feminists are hysterical? Okay, I am going to come back to Bill 441 in just a moment. I want to go to the Jezebel article about this woman who was jailed for having a miscarriage. I'm not going to go over the part that Jessica Valenti already went over, but it says on Tuesday, authorities released the findings of the autopsy. According to local news station WALB, the county coroner uncovered no signs of injury or trauma, and the baby never took a breath, confirming a natural miscarriage had occurred at about 19 weeks. Yet the criminal charges against the 24-year-old remain. The concealing the death of another person charge comes with up to 10 years in prison in Georgia, while the abandonment of a dead body charges comes with up to 3. The Tift County Sheriff's Office did not immediately respond to requests from Jezebel on why the young woman continues to face criminal charges for what the county coroner deemed a natural miscarriage, nor has the Sheriff's Office commented on whether it is standard procedure for individuals in the county to be arrested and jailed after miscarrying, or whether there are steps that people who miscarry must follow to dispose of remains from their pregnancy in order to avoid criminal charges. This is your regular reminder to never, not ever, talk to police about the outcomes of other people's or your own pregnancies, and take all precautions to protect your medical privacy. How traumatizing would it be to be sitting up in jail because you miscarried? This is something that nearly 1 in 4 women experience, and there are no laws or rules in how to handle a miscarriage. It happens. Okay. I have spoken about this before. I have had 2 miscarriages, and what happens is your body just starts cramping. It feels like you need to go do number 2. You need to go number 2. You go to the bathroom, and then stuff just starts coming out. It looks like okay, it's pretty bad, but at 19 weeks, it's not a baby. This is one of the fundamental reasons why I hate going back and forth with pro-life people, because at 19 weeks, it is not a baby. And this was not a baby because it hadn't fully formed. Not all pregnancies will be viable pregnancies that get to the other side where there is a baby that comes out of the birth canal. And this woman, instead of taking her to the hospital, they took her to jail. This is a warning to women. Do not get pregnant in these states that have total termination bans, because you could end up in jail. Even women that are purposely trying to get pregnant with their husband, within the sanctity, covered under Christ and all that, you could still end up in jail, because Christian married women have miscarriages as well. But Elon Musk said the birth rates are keeping him up at night. The birth rates need to plummet to hell because of how women are being treated in this country. And I told you I was going to come back to this bill talking about HB 441. And so that's where I am right now with this one. A controversial bill that would charge women who received the procedure with murder drew a large crowd to the Capitol on Wednesday. House Bill 441 would make it a crime that comes with the charge of murder for defendant mothers of unborn children, and completely outlaws termination in Georgia. It's sponsored by State Representative Emory Donahue out of Gillsville. Tens of thousands made in the image of God continue to be murdered in our state every year, said Donahue at Wednesday's packed committee hearing. That must be changed. Donahue was grilled by Democratic members of the committee, who noted the bill spells out no exceptions to of rape, incest, or in instances where the pregnancy isn't medically viable. They also pointed out that Georgia already has one of the strictest termination laws in the country, barring the procedure after 6 weeks of pregnancy when a heartbeat can be detected. Donahue also said there's a provision in HB 441 that would allow the state's attorney general to prosecute termination-related murder cases if local prosecutors fail to charge. If you unalive a child, I think a murder charge is by definition appropriate, said Luke, a supporter of 441, who spoke to the Atlanta First this week. It's a baby biologically, it's a life, and it has value. So one of the things that, Elon Musk is worried about the birth rate, but what about women that are being prosecuted for miscarriage? What about those women? What about the women that are bleeding out because they need a D&C, but the states won't do it, or the doctor won't do it unless a woman is nearing death. He wants more babies, but they're cutting funds for food banks and school-aged children. That's what these pro-life people are doing. That's what Doge is doing. They want more babies, but they're cutting social safety nets. They want to make sure that people just, drown under the cost of bills, because the cost of bills are going up. People are getting fired. People are food insecure and housing insecure. But he is worried about babies? And how many people have even been fired because of this administration and Elon Musk? How many people are sitting up there worried about being fired? This country does not deserve babies. And I'm still on team, let the birth rate plummet to hell. All right, let me know what you think about all of this. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.
What's the biggest thing for you that keeps you up at night?
Well, there's a lot of things, I suppose, that I worry about, but and some of these things will seem esoteric to people. The birth rate is very low in almost every country, and it's something, unless that changes, civilization will disappear. America had the lowest birth rate, I believe, ever. That was last year. Places like Korea, the birth rate is 1/3 replacement rate. So that means in 3 generations, Korea will be 3 or 4% of its current size. And nothing seems to be turning that around. Humanity is dying.
So he's sitting up there hand wringing about the birth rate while sitting on a pile of money like Scrooge McDuck. So many other people are food insecure, housing insecure, job insecure, and he's sitting up there thinking that this is a good time to have a baby. See, it's like they have no foresight. Maybe if people were happy and not stressed and had money, they could create a family. But at this particular juncture, let the birth rate plummet to hell. All right, let me know what you think about all of this. Join the conversation. Don't forget to like, comment, and share.